Welcome to Rambling of a Madman. In this episode, I would like to ramble on about the economic recovery, especially the concept or the theory of K-shaped economic recovery. So I was going through some of my favorite channels in YouTube. One of them is Economics Explained, and in this they had a video about economic recovery, and this recovery they explained about the K theory or uh, the the economic recovery taking the shape of the letter K and how it is possible and why does this happen. So this was an interesting topic. Normally we talked during this pandemic situation, the recovery of the economy. The main talk was whether it's going to be a V or a U. A V-shaped recovery means the charts, overall charts from stock markets to speculations to every other industry that has been hit by this economic downfall, to be the economic charts would behave in a way of letter V, where the downfall is steep, but it will come back up again very quickly, as much as it will mimic the speed of going down when going up. So it will look like a V shape. This was the prediction for most of the people. At first predicted this when jobs are being lost and the economic is getting a hit. They say the main reason for this is closing down of economic, because the shutting down of countries to restrict travel and to put health and safety safeguards on it because of that. And some of them said it will be a V shape, because when the economy opens back again, it will go back to normal as it was. The others were normally talking about a U-shaped recovery, which means they were banking on not a very quick recovery. When the charts go down, it will stay down for a while and then it will start going up again. Well, there were different things, but right now then there was the W-shaped recovery, where it will go down, up, down again, and then goes up to recover. So on and so on. There are well, everybody's trying to put the shape of letters in the English alphabet into the charts. But there was an interesting thing that has been suggested in this video, is that of a K-shaped recovery, which got my attention, which it seems kind of true. Now, we all know that the speculation markets, or especially the stock market, was balanced, we can say, by different governments around the world pumping money into the system. If you take the stock market in United States, it was balanced out by like that. A lot of companies a lot of countries pumped in money to the system, to the economy, to the society, to maintain balance the economy itself. Most of the charts right now, what we have, shows some kind of a V or a U. shaped, especially speculations and when coming into stock markets and so on and so on. But the K theory suggests something else. The letter K is the shape is splits into two. It splits into two. This is so. This is the unique feature of such a K-shaped chart would be that the whole economy comes down. The chart shows that it's going down, but part of it goes up when recovering in a V shape, and the other would still keep going down. So it will, that meaning that while part of the economy recovers and goes up, the other does not. This is kind of true, isn't it? Depending on your personal experience during this year, you will approach it in different ways. Some might say, yes, there was a hard time, but we recovered. Some might say, no, it wasn't like that. Our economy was totally destroyed. Others might say, no problem at all. It was a full advantage for me. But this is depending on the sector that you are working on, the business that you are doing. It depends from sector to sector. It differs. And this is what the building of the K-shaped recovery is about. And the more we look at it, though the stock markets and the others show such V-shaped or U-shaped, W or whatever the letter of the alphabet recoveries, the entire economy of a country or the world will definitely show a K-shaped recovery or a K-shaped movement in the entire economy, where a part of the economy starts doing well while the other part of the economy suffers or goes down. So, looking at what I have seen practically, as well as what I have seen in the news, talking to people and trying to figure out what happened, my personal opinion or my personal liking goes to this K-shaped recovery theory, because it's kind of true. Well, we all know the first part of the K, the steep drop, how this started and what are the reasons. Briefly talking about a pandemic situation thrusted the whole world for a standstill, where everything was stopped. Basically, literally moving of things stopped. So the cogwheels of economy started suffering. Every sector started suffering, and the economic indicators plunged down like started free falling. But there was not much panic involved, because when timing goes on, it started recovering. So then, of course, everybody was thinking about the V shape or the U shape to see what's what. But more than halfway through the year, we are here, still half of the world having half of the restrictions while another half is open. So it's a whole jumble. But this proves the point of the K theory of recovery. So let's talk about the bottom half of the K, which is still plunging. Well, this is something that you can see from your eyes. You're practically what you can see. If you're walking in the road, or if you are traveling in a vehicle, if you look around, you will see one or two shops that are familiar, that were there, are closed. If you go into a mall, this is something that you will see. Or if you basically go around any shopping area center, you will see that the shops are being closed. Well, and if you look a little bit closer, you will see that these shops are more of in an exotic nature, shops that normally not everybody use. Maybe shops that will be, people will buy it when they have extra money, things that people will buy when they have extra money, or shops that are dedicated for special occasions or special events. These shops, which normally what they sell, the service or the product, it will be expensive, and therefore these most of these shops, they always lie on the margin, shops that were barely covering up the rent by doing their sales. All kind of these shops, like these shops may include maybe shops that are dedicated to flowers, to ornaments, presents, maybe shops that are selling designer clothing, maybe designer wear, shoes for like special pricing, and that particular market where not a lot of sales are expected, like a grocery store or a local retailer. Such shops, individual catering shops, basically the problem there will be, because when you are shut down at least for a month, you will have problems with your rental, paying your rental, and basically keeping the lights on, after that paying the rental and staying there. So it, for these such shops, it's a matter of making the decision either to close down entirely and maybe look at another direction, or maybe move from that location to a much more less expensive, or maybe just close it down altogether. Maybe along the way they will start again, maybe something like that. But the immediate repercussions of this shutdown were there, and a lot of retail shops, especially small individual shops, not chains, actually these individual shops suffered the most. And this is something that, this falling down of this part of the economy, you can actually see it with your own eyes, because these shops might be familiar to you when going on the road, or if you are traveling along, you will see some shops which are boarded and closed, and along the whole globe this has become a common sight. So because this is a chain, you can understand there will be people getting laid off, people who are working in these shops, and of course because people are moving out of their rented spaces, people who rent out, owners of property, will also suffer from this. So another part that is helped for this K theories, bottom half of the K, where it shows that the economic indicators are going down, is reduction of salaries. Basically this is also a very practical thing that everybody can see, feel. You, if it didn't happen to you, you know that there is somebody who's there, who had their salaries cut maybe in half, maybe quarter, maybe depending on, maybe the commission is not there, so on and so on. uh, Basically, when you talk to people about this, they would say it is, well, it is better not losing in the job and just working in, because there's some kind of money coming to them, and that will help them to um, uh, progress in life. But of course, this is the starting of the vicious cycle, because less money to the people, less consumption, rents are not paid on time, and so on and so on. Then, and the economic cycle continues. Of course, the sectors that are, a lot of sectors has been challenged, and there is a crunch of money, so a lot of companies have done this, especially small companies that are working through day-to-day basis, have done this just to prolong their work, just to try to drag their company out of the shutdown scenario. Of course, these salary reductions, as I told you, seems a very nice thing compared to laying off. Well, it's no secret, let's face it, the biggest industry that was hit by this is the traveling sector, the tourism and the leisure sectors. There were many people who were working on these sectors on contract basis, and for low wages, as well as well, the whole area depends on temporary contracts, and lot of lot of low paying jobs. Maybe you can be host, usher, a waiter, a cleaner, something like that, in the tourism and the travel sector, and these positions, as well as high positions on these sectors, suffered a lot. There was a lot of laying offs. I have seen other companies, even companies like luxury car manufacturers, are having plans to lay off their staff. This is like the biggest hit, because some of the workers are particularly talented in some of these areas. For example, in a world where tourism has fallen down, a hospitality manager doesn't what to do next would be the problem when getting laid off. And not only that, getting laid off means you are completely losing a way of income, and to pay your mortgage, your tax, your to feed yourself, your family, your loved ones, to pay your rent, all of these things will be stopped, and this will impact the economy negatively. As I was talking about the layoffs, the biggest two sectors we have to talk about is the travel and leisure sectors, tourism sectors, that were hit deeply in this time period. Flights around the world stopped, granted to a halt immediately, and tourists around the world maybe got stuck on the countries they were there, and people who were, all the travel plans were cancelled immediately. Travel restrictions were added. from governmental levels to provincial levels. So altogether, this sector, tourism and travel sectors, got a very, very bad hit. And it is quite clear, if you look at these particular sectors, the indicators have plunged way down and there was no going up. Even today it is that is the situation, especially countries that depend on tourism, especially places that depend on tourism, are not getting the money that they need. Now, as the economy is interconnected, linked through chains, of course these two sectors will affect other sectors directly or indirectly. Let's look at examples such as flights. When coming into travel, we all know that orders will be cancelled for flights for new production. So companies like Boeing and Airbus is getting a hit from that side. If you take ships, cruises, of course, new production and these things will be stopped because of loss of income. That side is going to get hit. And maybe of course the hotels are closed, or either they have to take bank loans to run, or altogether some small hotels will be closed, and these hotels might not only be affecting the owners of these hotels, because these hotels might be built by taking loans. That means that the banks that are giving out these loans, institutions that are giving out these loans, are going to be affected. So altogether you can see a lot of layoffs from these sectors, which is from travel and leisure, tourism, these sectors, and these people will stop spending because there have been layoffs, and mortgages, rentals, they will also stop. Again, the banks will suffer. So these are the actual indicators that shows the part of the cave which is moving down after things started to get settled. Some other sectors that come into mind is entertainment, sports, anything that includes large gatherings and so on. All these sides of the industries, especially entertainment industries, where they need to sell tickets, they need to sporting events that need to sell tickets, they need the fans out there, those sectors are also suffering. So though right now, though there are some indicators in the stock market and things that shows it going up, the reality is that these particular sectors are really suffering, and the indicators are showing that it is going down. While these sectors of travel, entertainment, leisure, and tourism are going down heavily, things, structures, economic plans, economic benefits that are gotten directly, indirectly, other parts of the economy are also being dragged down with these major sectors of the economy. And that is the plain hard truth that is there in the ground. But there is another interesting fact, is that if you look at stock market, so if you look at futures, if you look at basically trading, where you can see a chart that drops sharply but has picked up momentum and started moving up like a V or like a U. This is the moving up part of the K theory of recovery. While half of the economy goes down, the other half goes up. Now, how how can this be when the world stops and when main sectors of economy started plunging deep down? Um, a set of economics or another set goes up, still profit still thrives very well, and that is when the main part for this is the government steps in. It is you know we people look negatively at Wall Street, the stock markets, the people who wear suits and start earning money, the hedge fund managers, or well, basically people who manages large bulks of money. And normally for the people who work day to day hard, and maybe the middle class also, for them it's a day to day struggle. But for the people who are wealthy and who are spending in that way, people who have maybe have extra cash lying around, for them they invest these things in the market, because the money and because these markets are so huge and interconnected, the government have to step in to protect these markets, because protecting these markets means protecting the banks, protecting the investors, eventually of course protecting the people who have invested in them, basically rich people. But even the interest rates of the middle class families fixed deposit or the money they saved depends on these things. So basically what happens, the government steps in, pumps money into the system to cover up the damages that are done by the above mentioned sectors such as travel, leisure, tourism, entertainment, sports, that side. So basically by pumping in money, stopping the crash, and just stopping the general panic that is going to happen, they expect these large institutions to carry out trading without much of an issue. And these institutions, the Wall Street institutions, as well as the institutions around the world that have these big stock markets and other exchanges, the trading is so much, they affect the day-to-day life of a normal middle class family. So the argument goes to save the money that are in banks and elsewhere, that is of a large amount of people who are there in the world. The best thing to do is to protect the economics that are involved in banking, and somehow these securities, bonds, stock markets, everything are interconnected, and when one thing falls, the other thing will grab hold of it and goes down with it. So it is not like the one sector of travel, of the economy, like travel or leisure or tourism goes down. If sectors such as the markets go down, it drags the banks much more harder. So it is the way that these economists see is that by pumping in money, they have saved the economy and the society comparatively to the damage that is there in the economy at this moment. Basically, another way of saying is there are people who have maybe worked for a long time and done some saving and invested them and living from that interest. There are a lot of people who does that, and their funds are saved. There are many other funds that are there which supports the economy. Those are saved, um, as well as the EPF ETFs of the people are saved, and large companies are floating in because the pumping of this money, meaning that though there are layoffs and maybe salary cuts, large companies that employ thousands of people are able to maintain that set of employees is because of this pumping of it. So it is a controversial thing, but the long term benefits, or maybe the pain is there but the wound is sealed, something like that. Economics, when coming into that part, is complicated, but this is one of the things. The a K-shaped recovery is there because of these because some parts, such as travel, leisure, as I told you before, are going down, while by pumping money into banks, to the economic, to the markets, the government was able to stop these sectors of when sectors of travel, leisure, sports, travel, dragging down the banks and everything with them. So this is the one of the parts that go up. The other part that go up is the medical sector. The sheer use of medical equipment, the medical equipment productions places, as well as treating of patients and so on. These sectors are getting benefits. People who are doing business in these sectors are getting benefits because this is a capitalistic economic system, that is, the world is based on. Any company that has capitalized on the current health crisis is able to earn a lot of profit. So these are companies that shows positive growth in this situation. And then the other things are the you can say the IT sector, or the anything which have to do with online banking, online purchasing, from working from companies that support online services to work from online, from the basic companies that give you email to video chat to transferring of files. Because a lot of companies moved online, these companies started earning a lot of profit by giving out their services, and also new services based online have emerged because of this, as well as leisure and entertainment that is given through online means, such as online gaming, online videos, social media, Netflix or YouTube, anything like this. These sectors are immensely profitable at this moment because a lot of people are staying indoors and they have a lot of free time because of the total shutdown. And these companies is actually gained a lot during this time, and these are the companies that are going up in this K-shaped economic recovery. Then there are the other sectors that maybe suffered a little bit or not, where there is like no change at all. Sectors such as agriculture, where the needs of food is there for everybody every day, and sectors such as power, providing electricity and so on, then water and other essential services and other essential products, sanitary products and so on and so on. This actually doesn't suffer because these are the bare essentials, and while the governments are pumping in money, these essentials will be bought, so there is no actual downturn for these. Either these go up or stay neutral, so these are also in the upper part of the K-shaped recovery. I think I forgot to talk about the government incentives that were also given to the people who have lost their jobs, and that printing of that money and giving it to the people also helped for this K-shaped recovery, especially for the banking sector where the rents were paid, as well as companies that producing food and these things were also able to function because there were at least some money that was given by the government for the people who have lost their jobs, for to buy the essentials they need. So this is the basic K-shaped recovery that I think that is happening in the economy at this particular time. Whether you agree or not, I don't know, because maybe in different countries, in different places, this would impact in different ways depending on the economic style, economic sectors that are there in different countries. But overall, this is the situation. So basically, when couple of main sectors started going down, a set of sectors actually benefited: travel, leisure, tourism, entertainment, sports. These sectors got immense hit and started moving down, while sectors such as medical sector, people making medical products, sectors such as online services, online service providers, and also people who do their products, selling, people who sell their products online, in people who carry out their entertainment in an online level, not the movie theaters but the Netflix shows, the YouTube shows and so on. These sectors actually got the online gaming industry, these industries actually got a huge boost, which shows the division of the K, where one part of the economy indicates that it still going down, the other part of the economy which is still going up. And we have to recognize that the split has happened mainly because of government intervention. Yes, there's a lot of debt now than we started 2020. It is crazy to think of the numbers. Yes, a lot of money has been printed, but basically this money was distributed maybe to the people, for the people who need it, and they have spent it to buy essential goods, and by that stabilizing those sectors that produce essential goods such as food, water, electricity and essential services. Then this money is pumped into banks and markets, where that's a whole security is exchange of securities, stock markets, bonds, and the whole banking and the economic sector that was suffering from money not coming in from loan credits, loans, or uh, because people are not paying in their rentals, and the money that is coming from properties are not coming in, or people who have been laid off or cannot find a job at this given moment, cannot pay their student loans. So from so many aspects, uh, those areas were also saved by governmental money. And because of these things, because of pure or brute strength approach from the governments to pump money in, to take in more debt and pump money in, and to save sectors of economy, as well as the naturally benefited parts of the economy shows upward trend in economic indicators, while sectors that still are very hard to recover, such as flights, construction of flights, companies that maintain and run flights, cruise ships, tourism, entertainment, are still in a suffering position. Still shows the indicators shows a downward trend. Well, this was the thing, and that I thought of, because as I told you, I started thinking about this and got to know about this K-shaped economic recovery from Economics Explained from YouTube. I highly recommend that channel, and they approach it in a maybe a different sense, or they talk about more important things in that video. I highly recommend the whole entire channel. If you can look through their content, that is marvelous. They do a great job explaining how the economy works, the practical economy works. So I recommend that as well. But this is what I thought of a K-shaped recovery, the practical things that we see, we read from the news articles, or by watching the news, or the things that we see by traveling on the road, or the things that we see here by talking to people, meeting people around, what happened to your friends, people the practical level of how this K theory works. Well, I think I have rambled on a lot. This was also a very, very mad ramble. Thank you very much for listening. I wish you all the best and the best of health. Ayubowan.